It's Bill. It's been a while, but I will give you my predictions for the World Cup of Darts. Hey everyone, it's Bill. It's been a while, but and I know I forgot my picks for a lot of things, but unfortunately summer, trailer, all the good stuff, busy. So although it was nice to see Peter Wright win the match play, and from what I understand, the Chihuahua still hasn't won a damn thing yet, so that always puts a smile on my face. But let's see how I think it's going to go for World Cup. World Cup's a great tournament because you get to see some players you've never seen. And this year there's a lot of debutants, so going through the teams, some of the countries have no idea who these players are, so it'll be interesting to see how they do on the big stage. And then you've got some teams that have, you know, one really dominant player and then one player that, you know, doesn't have a tour card, so it's always interesting to see how those teams fare. And then of course you've got your loaded teams where you've got, you know, like England, you've got the 4th and the 7th seed, I believe. And you've got, you know, I guess Scotland unfortunately doesn't have Gary Anderson, but still has Peter Wright, John Anderson. So how are they going to do? How they work together? And of course Wales looks like the dominant team with Clayton and Price. But let's see, you know, how it goes. What I'm going to do is run through my picks for today, and then I'll kind of give my general thoughts of who do I think is going to do well in the tournament. So first game up today is Lithuania against Hungary. Again, I don't know any players on Hungary. I was looking at the names, and I remember Lithuania. They've got Darius Labanauskas, who's a pretty solid player. And then you've got the partner, who I believe he was a partner with him last year. So I expect, and I believe they won a game last year, and I expect them to win this game. So I'm going to take them to win 5-3. Again, in these short formats, if one of the players isn't getting off, it's going to be a challenge. So this is where you're going to see the upsets. First round is where you see upsets. Once you get in the second round, now you're starting to get singles matches with doubles. Now, I would call out, I would love to see a lot more doubles in the World Cup because you're partners. You can win a game in the second round without even playing a doubles match, which I kind of find is kind of silly, right? I'd like to see the doubles match maybe first, and then get into the singles games. I think puts a little bit more pressure on the team that doesn't win that doubles. And if it's a team that maybe doesn't have the great singles players, it might give them that advantage. But again, I don't make the rules, so I'm just gonna pick the games today. So next game up, I think will be it's the second best game I think in the first round. I think Canada-Germany is a great game, but I think this will be a fantastic game. Poland against Czech Republic. You've got two tour car holders on both sides. You've got, you know, I would take Ratowski. He's the best player of the bunch. But lately, you know, Gallus had a really good, for Czechs, had a really good tournament. I think Kachuk's a really good player. And, you know, Sedlacek is pretty steady. So I think this is going to be a doozy. But I like, you know, I like Ratowski just consistently. And then Kachuk, I think, is just the better player than Sedlacek and Gallus on the other side. So I see Poland winning this one, but I think it'll be a tight one, 5-4. I also see Poland doing really well. I think they'll get Scotland or China in the next round if they do win this, and I think that'll be a great game. But we'll get to that if it does happen in the second round. The next one up, Singapore, Gibraltar. I'll take Poland anytime I can, especially in the first round of a World Cup, and I'm going to take Singapore to win this one 5-2. The next one up, USA, Sweden. Unfortunately for USA, Danny Bagish won't be able to attend. He's replaced with Chuck Paleo. But Danny Lauby, just every time I've seen him play, it's been insane. He's faster than a hiccup, and but he's played well. On the Sweden side, you've got Daniel Larsson, who's a tour holder, but if you take a look at Daniel Larsson's stats, I believe he's got 1 win on the tour this year, and a player that I'm just not aware of, Johan Engström. So I like USA to win this one, and I'll take that one 5-3. The next game up, Scotland against China. Again, I don't know any of the Chinese players, although I know they're playing a lot of darts in China. They've got a China World Series or a Premier League that they've been playing. I've tried to check out a couple games when I've had the opportunity. Obviously, if it was Gary Anderson, Peter Wright, I don't think this is, although they've lost to Singapore once in the first round, but I don't see the upset here. I think Wright's just too consistent. Henderson's usually pretty good at scoring. He gets himself into trouble with that rock when he's trying to go for doubles, but you got Peter Wright who can hit a double. So I don't know if the Chinese are going to be able to score with Scotland on that one. So I'll take Scotland to win this one 5-2. Next one up, Netherlands against Denmark. This will be an interesting one. You've got Dirk van Dijvenbode, who's not in good form, but was in fantastic form not 6-8 months ago. and you've got 2 Denmark players that I've never heard of before. So usually you got Per Larsen, but I don't see him in this list. I don't know what to expect. I think Netherlands will win this one easy. This is the one I'll take as a shutout, 5-0. The next one up, Wales against Finland. Again, Wales just dominant. Clayton and Price. I know they go by the seeds. They're giving England the #1 seed over Wales. I'd ask anyone, which team do you think is going to win, Wales or England? I think everyone's going to take Wales every single time. So again, 2nd seed. Finland's got Marco Cantelli, so I'll give them. I mean, he used to be a tour car holder. At least I recognize the name. I'll give him a leg. Wales to win 5-1, and then you got the a team that I think everyone wants to see do well. Australia, obviously with the death of Kyle Anderson, and you've got Damon Hedda, who I know grew up with him and has done a lot of work for the Anderson family, and then you got Whitlock, who's kind of the old guard that's there. I think that's a good team. I know they played in the Euro or the Euro tour last week with Hedda getting the win. My only concern is Hedda on TV. Hedda on the floor is way better than Hedda on TV. He's got that Ian White to him. He just doesn't seem to get it going on when he's on camera. I mean, if we take a look at his performance in the World Championship, we take a look at his performance in the match play. It's just not there on the TV. I still think Whitlock hits him over the line though, and I really do hope Australia does well. They will get Wales in the quarterfinal if they proceed, but yeah, they've definitely got the story behind them, which everyone likes. So I'm going to take Australia to win this one 5-2 over Italy. Again, so scores 5-3 Lithuania over Hungary, 5-4 Poland over Czech, and the way I think is the second best game. Singapore 5-2 over Gibraltar, States to beat Sweden 5-3, Scotland to beat China 5-2, Netherlands to beat Denmark 5-0, Wales to beat Finland 5-1, and Australia to beat Italy 5-2. Again, I hope everyone enjoys theirs. What I would just take a little time here as I look at the entire draw and teams that I think are going to do well. So if you take a look at that first draw, you got the seeds are England and Germany. I think, to me, England's the team that probably to beat, Wade and Chisnell, if they could ever figure it out, because the thing Chisnell can't do is finish, and the thing Wade can't do is score. So you'd like to think that they might, as a team, be a pretty damn good team, but you never know how that mix is gonna go in. Wade's about as personable as an ant, but Chisnell's one of those guys who just doesn't. I don't think he cares. He's just a nice guy, and I don't think he really cares who he plays with. He could play with a rock, he'd probably be fine with it. One thing I would call out is Canada got a horrible draw, if you ask me, getting Germany. I know they got Northern Ireland last year, and they won in that first round. And I think Matt Campbell, great form. Now that he's got a tour card, that is fantastic for Canada. That's fantastic for Matt. It's fantastic for us because I think everyone enjoys watching Matt play. That's a tough one. You're playing in Germany against Clemens and Max Hopp, who weren't, they're good players. Maybe the pressure gets to them a little bit. I think if you're going to take form, if it was Clemens and Schindler, that's your team. But maybe with Hopp, I just think it's a tough draw for Canada. There's so many better draws that Canada could have. So if Canada had a better draw, I would like them to I think they put a good run in and maybe get to England, but I like England out of that first run. In the second quarter, Wales. I know Australia's got the story. I'll take a Johnny Clayton and Gerwin Price every day, and I'm taking them all the way to the final and possibly win it, right? So I like Wales to get out of that corner or out of that quarter. In the third quarter, that's an interesting one. You got the Scotland team that's kind of, what if Henderson shows up at all and does any kind of damage, I like Scotland. I think Poland's your sleeper there. I just like that team. Can Netherlands get there? For sure they can. I just don't, maybe this is the tournament that Michael wins, and it's really not a singles final TV tournament, but I'll take Scotland out of there, although I'm not particularly attached to it. And then in the last quarter, at some point, Northern Ireland's got to do some damage. Daryl Gurney, Brendan Dolan, they got to do damage. I like to draw the first round. I kind of like to draw all the way through. They got to get Belgium probably in the quarterfinal, and you know, Kim Huybrechts shows up for one tournament every year. It's this one, but Dimitri didn't play good last year, and I'm not a big fan of the Belgian team just as a team. Kim Huybrechts got to be tough to play with. I don't know. He just yells and screams and gets upset, and then maybe Dimitri goes, "What's your seed, bud? And were you 50th overall in the world? I'm what, 5th? Why don't you shut up?" Maybe the conversation, but I'll go with Northern Ireland there. So I guess my quarterfinal would be Wales, Scotland, England, Northern Ireland. But you know, there's going to be some upsets. So let's take a look at what happens. I hope everyone enjoys the darts, and I'll do a video for the Friday games.